Today we're reviewing Heidi The Ride. I'm still not sure if it's Heidi or Heidi The Ride, but who cares? This is the wooden coaster located at Plopsaland De Panne, and it is the park's family-friendly thrill coaster, the floater airtime machine if you will. This ride is known to be fun but a non-intense GCI, running very smoothly. It's also very much known as White Lightning's Belgian cousin, because this has pretty much the same layout. It's one of the less intense wooden coasters I've ridden, but at the same time, one of my favorites. Right off the bat, I want to say that this is one of the coasters that surprised me very positively last summer, and I definitely have a soft spot for this coaster. I rode it in July of 2022, and let's talk about some of the technical stuff on this ride.
It's almost like we have an imposter among us.
Heidi The Ride is made by Great Coasters International, and it's of course a wooden coaster. It's one of my favorite types of wooden coasters as well. GCI has a very unique way to go about their track profiling. Plus, the comfort is heavenly. The seats are so soft, the restraints are nice. Generally, these trains are just fantastic.
I like trains.
It features the Heidi The Ride layout, which is a cloned layout. There's only one other of the clone, which is Werewolf at Majaland Konaty in Poland. And then, of course, there's White Lightning at Fun Spot America in Orlando, which is pretty much the same layout, just made slightly more compact. Heidi The Ride opened in 2017, and it features a pretty damn short train of 12 riders over 6 rows. But hey, that just makes it more cozy, especially in these couch seats. It's 72.2 feet tall, so definitely a shorter thrill coaster height, but also pretty decent. It has a length of 2,057.1 feet long, which makes it the second longest coaster in the park after, I'll give you one guess. And it goes 44.3 miles an hour, so not a high speed, but well fit for the layout. It ain't much, but it's honest work. Generally, Heidi The Ride is very average mid-tier regarding its stats. It's also only got a ride duration of 36 seconds from the lift hill to the final brake run. But even though it's short, it's packing. And of course it's got 0 inversions. This is for families. Behave yourself, Thusies. Let's talk about how it looks.
What do you got?
Wood. What do you got?
Wood.
Now, wooden coasters in general, but especially GCI woodies, always look delicious. Heidi The Ride adds a wonderful skyline from the parking lot with its hills going right next to it. You can even walk under the coaster and touch the ride before going into the park. How cool is that? It's also got some general great angles for it to look at, and overall, because of that, has a great presentation that definitely makes you want to ride it. I mean, its position in general really screams, "Come to me first."
Come on over here! Come on over!
And who doesn't love the Hulk-induced rollerblade sounds of a GCI? The sound barriers here also add an extra spice of shazazz to it. It may be themed to a little girl in the Alps, but for its presentation, it's spicy. That is until you see all the Swiss flags and architecture, of course. Heidi starts out with a small dip where you can wave to your friends who beat you to it, followed by a chain lift hill with some carpet sorcery, making it look like actual train tracks. And then comes the drop. Now the drop is actually pretty good. You'll get some great laterals toward your right side doing this drop that are pretty snappy, and you gain speed incredibly quickly, while also getting some wonderful floater airtime. All of these forces are of course pronounced in the back row as well. Then you have the small overbank, which brings some left side laterals, generally pushing you toward the left. That is before a tiny piece of straight track to accommodate the regretters on board. And then the double up down, the big signature element of the ride. The airtime on here is snappy, weaker floater. You get a great sense of weightlessness, but you don't actually get shot up from your seat. But something that GCI in general is absolutely fantastic at doing is making their airtime snappy. And what I mean by snappy is that there is absolutely no curve, no gradual decline in forces. It's completely instant, like a snap. So you get that very snappy pop of weightlessness on all 3 of these pops. Now the top of the double up down is weaker than the entrance and the exit of it.
You guys all think you're so much better than me.
That is the least fancy thing I have ever heard.
However, if you sit in the back row, you will feel the airtime a fair bit better as you get pulled down from there. Generally a really fun element that's definitely best in the back for that reason. Then you have this overbank, which has some small smooth whip up front, but nothing special. The greatest thing about this element is going down the curved drop, because the laterals get stronger and stronger throughout the drop, especially in the back row. It starts out as nothing, but the further down you go and the faster you go, the more toward your right side you get pushed, and it is really cool. Then there's a twisted bunny hill with another small snap of floater airtime. The twisted hill also brings a bit of laterals toward your left side. That's followed by 2 consecutive bunny hills, both of which which also bring that fun snap of floater airtime. Then there's a small twist here with some fun side-to-side movement, basically some weak whip with some good speed. Then you have the twisted double down. Up front you will actually get a really good pop of snappy floater airtime, as well as some left side laterals once again, whereas in the back row you won't get anything up there.
What a dud.
However, on the drop downwards, you will get the best pop of airtime in the back row with some strong floater, whereas in the front row, you only get some weak floater.
How the turntables.
Then you have a tunnel with a tiny outer banked bunny hill. Once again, a fun, snappy floater pop, a small overbank with some great laterals toward the left, one of the best lateral moments on the ride actually. Then there's a small twisted bunny hill, and this is a dirty little fucker. On about half of my rides, I would get a strong pop of snappy floater airtime here. You really get a good jump out of your seat, but on the other half of the rides, I got a solid pop of ejector airtime here. This is definitely the strongest airtime moment on the ride, and if you get that ejector, it's pretty good ejector, as in you get fired up into your lap bar. Super fun way to end the ride, even though it's not the final element, because you still got a small curve with some weaker laterals before you then have an ascent with some weaker floater airtime up front, and then that's the final brake run before a turnaround into the station. Definitely a very, very airtime focused layout with a few twists and some great lateral moments here and there. Overall though, there's generally not anything strong on this ride because it is family oriented and it's a small ride as well.
I believe in speed.
GCI absolutely excels at making their rides feel fast, and Heidi is no exception to the Wunder phenomenon. This ride rockets through the layout, keeps its speed very well, and the forces are pretty consistent. Pretty much all the floater airtime is the same strength. However, it does have 3 oopsies. The first is the double up down because the top of the element feels a little too slow compared to the rest of the ride and the GCI in general. It loses a little too much speed up there, making it kind of weak up front. And then there's a twisted double down, which also feels like it loses a little too much speed right at the top that it needs to gain when going down again. And the final thing is the fact that I think the trains are different. I got 4 rides in this thing. Now on 3 of those rides, I sat in the exact same seat. Back row, right side. And on 2 of the rides, the forces felt stronger and the ride felt faster. I had one ride where it felt extra fast and I got that great ejector pop, then another ride in the exact same seat that was a little weaker.
You're a fake and a fraud!
And then one more ride in that seat where it was even stronger than the second time. So it's nothing to do with it warming up. I just think that one of the trains run faster, so take notice of that if you go. Otherwise, pacing is pretty solid.
I'm gonna vibrate you to death.
Now Heidi is remarkably smooth for a wooden coaster. There's no rattle, no roughness, no proper shakiness at all. There's nothing other than some small vibrations. It's incredibly smooth. By far the majority of steel coasters I've ridden are rougher than this. In fact, it's the smoothest coaster in the park, even smoother than God's own creation here.
I was God once.
You were doing well until everyone died.
It's one of the absolute smoothest woodies I've ever done, only really behind Colossus because that thing is illegally smooth. It feels like a newborn. That came out wrong. Heidi is themed to an anime. That's certainly a first for me. It's Weep the Ride.
Nani?
It's themed to the show Heidi Girl of the Alps, which I've never heard of before learning about this ride's theme, so sorry Belgium or Japan, I don't even know at this point. The Swiss area makes you feel right at home, which naturally reminds me a lot of Europa Park. It has some nice details in the queue line, some certain articles that really give that alpine theme. The same goes for the station as well. And it's actually really interesting to look at these things. A lot of them feel like they're actually taken out of like factories or museums maybe. But the best element of theming is actually after the brake run where you meet Heidi herself.
What an honor!
This is generally a really nicely decorated room. Can't ever turn down the opportunity to greet some goats. It's a really nicely themed ride. It's not filled to the brim or anything with theming. There's little to nothing throughout the layout, but the theming there is very pleasant.
There's some good in this world, Mr. Fertile.
Overall, I think Heidi is a surprisingly fun ride. It might not be extreme in any way, but these quick snaps of floater airtime mixed with laterals that are just rapid fire and constant is exactly my type of shit. I'll be quick to admit I have a big stiffy for GCI wooden coasters. Mostly because their sense of chaos is unparalleled, and the way these rides move can be quick to throw you off your guard. Heidi might be a family ride, but it's the exact kind of fun I love. And for me, it's a laugh machine as well. Overall, I'm gonna give it a rating of 8.5 out of 10. I realize I like this fairly more than the average Thusi. And I guess that makes me special, or a fucking loser. You be the judge. but I'm now certain that I'm a certified GCI simp. All I can say is, give me more!
I wanna do it, I wanna do it, I wanna do it.
Let me know what you think of Heidi The Ride in the comments below, or Plopsaland De Panne in general, because it's a fucking awesome park. Otherwise, I'm gonna go to sleep now, because I'm recording this at shit o'clock at night. Bye!